Just live streaming means recording, right?
Yes.
Not yet. Not recording here. Not recording in Zoom, but directly live in YouTube.
Okay.
So the participant can watch the video first. Outside here.
So YouTube it will be at your signal, huh?
Yeah. It's too complicated to work with online. We like to do it directly.
The young people are so much more technically minded. They can do most things.
This is the video about our school. Did a bit talk about our school.
Some words, like that word protocol, that's like the English word, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this video today.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
No song.
Oh iya lupa, bentar ya. Sebelum kamu masuk dulu, aku mau bilang nih, kalau gedung SMA Santo Yosef itu dibagi jadi 3 gedung, gedung A, gedung B, dan gedung C. Yuk masuk. Setiap ruang kelas yang ada di SMA Santo Yosef itu difasilitasi dengan AC dan toilet. Oh iya, jangan lupa kalau di setiap lantainya sekarang udah ada wifi loh. Hai guys. Oh iya, SMA Santo Yosef juga punya 2 gazebo yang keren banget. Nah, ini lab kimia. Kita intip yuk dalamnya. Ngapain nih, Pak?
Hari ini kebetulan kita akan mempelajari sifat-sifat logam, sifat-sifat unsur. Nah, Bapak ngambil contoh yang lebih spesifik, sifat unsur-unsur logam. Silakan kalau mau bergabung, silakan ngambil tempat. Kita akan mempelajari sifat-sifat logam.
Wah, keren ya, Pak. Kalau gitu saya mau ajak dia keliling-keliling aja, Pak.
Oke, terima kasih. Silakan dilanjutkan. Sukses.
Lagi praktikum apa nih, Bu? Lagi praktikum biologi, uji kandungan vitamin C pada beberapa produk vitamin yang ada di dalam boleh bagian nggak, Bu? Silakan duduk. Oke, nah kita lanjutkan praktikumnya. Jadi sebagai percobaannya kita menggunakan betadin yang kamu deteksi nanti dengan beberapa dengan vitamin yang ada di depan kalian. Silakan melakukan percobaannya.
sini kita ke lab komputer yuk. Nah, ini juga ruang belajar dengan ruang rekreasi. Sedangkan dapurnya ada di samping belakang tembok. Mungkin hanya itu saja, kita bisa lanjutkan ke ruang tidur sama ruang doa.
Berbakti, ramah tamah, santun, jujur, disiplin, bertanggung jawab, tekun, bertindak adil, bersahaja. Nah, semua siswa dan guru juga harus memiliki harapan yang sama. Adapun visi misi SMA Santo Yosef adalah komunitas yang unggul dalam akademis, bertumpu pada hati nurani, dan solider terhadap sesama. Untuk menjalankan visi ini, kita bersama-sama dalam belajar, memberikan pembelajaran yang efektif kepada siswa maupun dalam pendampingan yang efektif agar potensi siswa dapat bertumbuh, berkembang secara optimal. Kemudian kita juga akan memberikan penanaman kejujuran, kesadaran sosial terhadap siswa, dan siswa memiliki kepekaan dalam hal pemecahan permasalahan sosial. Juga perlu diketahui ya, bahwa kita
ya kehadirannya.
Yusuf.
Well, hello everyone here. The Honorable Mr. Chiu and Mr. David. We have Mr. Principal here, Bapak Franz. And then we have also Sir Prima as an English teacher. The official, Franz, it's in our principal. And then Stefanus Prima, this means our English teacher. Now we have two MC here, and now I give this chance for the MC to run the program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Erna, and hi everyone. Welcome to this virtual coaching clinic. Our topic in this virtual coaching clinic is how storytelling makes your speech memorable. Special thanks for our principal, Mr. Franz, Rotary E-Club 3310 President, Mr. Chiu Ban Seng, our coach, Mr. David Hughes from Australia, our teacher, Ma'am Erna, and Mr. Prime, and to all of you who have joined this event. So Mr. David is a master communicator, and thank you so much, sir, for being our coach at this virtual coaching clinic.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. This virtual coaching clinic supported by Rotary E-Club of 3310 Singapore. And thank you so much, Mr. Chiu, as the president of Rotary E-Club 3310 for supporting us. So first, we're gonna have welcoming speech from our principal, Mr. Franz. So let us give him applause. And Mr. Franz, the stage is yours. Thank you, sir.
Terima kasih MC. Saya akan berbicara dalam bahasa Indonesia. Selamat malam semua. Ya, selamat malam semua. Salam sehat dan sejahtera. Yang saya hormati Mr. David Hughes dan Mr. Chiu dan rekan volunteer lainnya. Yang saya banggakan para peserta WSD 2021. Masa pandemi, semua aktivitas dibatasi. Pandemi ini merupakan momentum untuk dapat merefleksikan diri, untuk dapat lebih mendekatkan diri kepada Tuhan. Bersyukur dan berbagi itu adalah hal yang terbaik dalam masa pandemi ini. Dan berbagi itu indah. Salah satu aktivitas yang bisa kita lakukan adalah berbagi ide, berbagi cerita, gagasan, dan pemikiran. Dan di WSD inilah tempat terbaik untuk menyampaikan ide, cerita, gagasan, dan pemikiran. Karena segala sesuatu aktivitas itu diawali pasti dengan ide ataupun gagasan ataupun pemikiran. Kemampuan untuk selalu belajar dan percaya diri menjadi modal untuk mengembangkan diri untuk berkembang atas kemampuan yang kita miliki. Harapan dengan adanya WSD ini, kita semua bisa saling menguatkan, mendukung, dan bisa memberikan inspirasi bagi orang lain untuk dapat berubah ke arah yang lebih baik. Terima kasih kepada para pembimbing, panitia yang selalu bersemangat dalam setiap tahunnya untuk menyelenggarakan WSD ini, dan kita patut syukuri bahwa hari ini WSD bisa berjalan. Selamat mengikuti WSD, tebarkan kebaikan lewat ide, gagasan, dan pemikiran kalian yang terbaik. Terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih Pak Franz. Oke, thank you Mr. Franz. And I'm gonna a little bit translate it into English. So basically, Mr. Franz said thank you, and we must be grateful in this pandemic situation, and hopefully this event can develop student talents in English. Thank you, Mr. Franz. Next, we're gonna have welcoming speech from Rotary E Club 3310 President, Mr. Chiu. Give him applause, and thank you, Mr. Chiu. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you very much. Special thanks to the principal, Pak Franz, from the school, Sekolah Menengah Atas Santo Yusuf. And all of you, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like, first of all, to thank Erna from actually approaching me to talk about whether there's a possibility to help. My name is Chuban Singh. I'm the charter president of the Rotary E Club of 3310. Our club, Rotary E Club, has been working on World Speech Day since the very beginning, and that was way back in March 2016. And because we have been doing it progressively, and we started doing it over a 12-hour period, and I think we have become quite used to become very comfortable. This year, we're actually inviting the Rotaractors to take over, take over the responsibility of actually part owners of the program. And the Rotaractors are people like you, your age group, 17 years old, 18 years old, thereabout. Well, it should be 18 years old, thereabout, all right? And they are coming in and taking responsibilities. And I'm glad to see that all of you are doing the same thing. Now, when Ernie come and spoke to me, she says that there are 3 requirements that I want your people to be able to coach. I says there's no problem. All I need to do is really to find friends who are Rotarians, friends who are Toastmasters, because I'm both a Rotarian for 30 years and a Toastmasters for 20 years. And I says, I'll get things organized and I'll find you coaches. Just tell me what you need. And so I'm glad to have people like David who have actually volunteered. And so today you're having him as his first coach and workshop trainer. And of course, you will have others as well. I'm also glad that all of these people have agreed to actually manage and teach all of you on a coaching basis, one-to-one, so that you can actually learn something useful. Don't be shy when you are in your coaching group. There are 3 or 4 of you, and you know your 3 or 4 buddies very well. All you need to do is just ask questions. The problem with when you're actually doing online is that you tend to be very shy. When you meet the person personally, you find that, hey, David is just a very nice person and it's so easy to work with. But before that, you just see the name. That's just how I just learned. David Hughes or David Hughes. So it depends on who you are, because you just don't know the name and you're not familiar, so you tend to be very scared. Once you get to know them, talk to them, and get to know, like David was telling you about his stories, sharing stories, and you become very close together and will know each other very well. And I think that you will be fantastic. I know after you have worked with the coaches, each individual coaches, you will be they will be your friend forever, because they will be a tremendous influence to each and every one of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank every one of you to give us Rotary as well as Toastmasters working together as a Rotary Toastmaster Alliance to be able to present to you this particular public speaking and communication workshop. So over to you, Gabriel. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Principal, as well, Franz.
Yes, guys, let's give Mr. Chiu applause, and thank you so much, Mr. Chiu. And I'm gonna explain you guys like what is Rotary E-Club. So Rotary E-Club 3310 is the first operating Rotary cyber club in Asia. As a prototype, Rotary E-Club of 3310 operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on cyberspace. Rotary E-Club 3310 mission is to make this world a better place, to provide service to others, to promote high ethical standards, and to advance world understanding, goodwill, peace through its fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. So, yes, the coaching begins. Thank you, Mr. David, and the stage is yours. Give him applause.
Thanks, Gabriel, and what a great introduction. Really appreciate that. Thanks, Heng, for inviting me to do this. And Erna, may I call you Erna in front of the students, for telling me what was going to happen. And I'd like to echo something that Mr. Chiu said, that is, don't be afraid, say what you need to say, because every person in the world has a story to tell. Okay? All of us, no matter where we're from in the world, there are 7 billion people in the world. Each one has a story. But when you're giving a speech, a story speech in front of an audience, there's a couple of things to remember. There are 3 main things you need to do. You see, people will not necessarily remember what you say, but they will remember how you make them feel. That's what stories are about. If you can remember when you were a baby or a young toddler and your parents told you stories before you went to bed or whatever. There was a song that I and my siblings used to sing to my mum and dad. I'm one of 5 children. Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story before I go to bed. You promised me, you said you would. If you tell me a story, I'll be good. So tell me a story before I go to bed. And we felt good when we went to bed because we got a story. Now, the stories may not have been real. They may have been stories made up on the spot, or they may have been stories about my parents' day at work. They may have been stories the friends told them. And that's what a story is. It's a speech of sorts. And it has something of a message in it, maybe a moral, whether it's a fable, whether it's a great speech, whatever, we learn from it. When you're doing a speech on World Speech Day, 4 things that you can think about before you, or 5 things, in fact, before you give the speech are: who is the audience? Why are they going to be there? What motivates them? What do they expect from you? And what do you have to give them? These are some of the things that we'll talk about in the coaching sessions. I promised Erna that what I'd do is I'd get 1 or 2 of you to speak now, if you like, for maybe 2 minutes. Or each of you can speak for 1 minute and just tell me a little bit about yourself. And we won't go in any particular order, but this is a safe environment, okay, right now on screen. So what I'd like to do is maybe pick a name and ask you, if you wouldn't mind, to just say a few things about yourself. Would that be okay? Are you happy to do that?
Is it like introduction themselves?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The question to be
short
simple.
Introduction. Yeah.
Simple question. But
yeah.
so nothing to be fearful of. Is there anyone that doesn't want to do that? No, good.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's start with Kenny. Kenny looks enthusiastic and eager to say something. Kenny, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'll time you, so I'll give you 1 minute, okay? Please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kenny Kunyawan, and I'm the last children from my siblings. Our age gap is very different. My brother has 11 years ahead of me. My sister 15. My oldest sister is 15, and because of that, my life is considered better than everybody else. Everybody has to work. Everybody has to go to school by walking. I go to school by car. I go to school by motorcycle. And in the past, everybody always used their transportation, like motorcycle. They learn by themselves. Well, I'm 6th grade in elementary, failed to ride a bicycle.
Let me stop you there.
I keep on trying to do.
Okay. Let me stop you there. That was about a minute and a few seconds. Okay. What did we learn about Kenny there? How many children are in Kenny's family? How many brothers and sisters does he have, and where does he fit in the sibling group? It's not a quiz. Just answer whatever you think. I think you've got, what, a couple of brothers or something like that, but because one of the arts of speaking is also listening. And then when you're telling a story or giving a speech, you do it to inform people, or you do it to influence people, maybe persuade them, or you do it to entertain them. But the thing you must do is think of the audience first. So when you're speaking, speak about something you know, something you've lived. Speak with passion, but always package it for the audience. Because if you don't, the audience will turn off. Okay? They won't remember your words, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And every person in the audience has a story similar to yours. And they're interested in yours because they want to see how it connects with their own. Okay? Right. I'd like you to do something for me. Theodora, are you happy to do this? I want you to tell me about a happy moment that you've lived. Pick any moment when you were really happy and just tell us about that, please.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the chance you gave to me. And if I think about the happy moments, I maybe have a lot of them, but I don't really remember each of them. But one of the most happy moment in my birthday, like everyone liked their birthday, and when in your birthday you get present from people, you get a lot of gift, and that's a happy moment for me. And the last year in my birthday, I got a surprise from my family. Even though it was a pandemic, I still got a lot of birthday from my friends, and that was very happy. Thank you, sir.
That was great. Thank you. That was good. You see, there was two stories in that. One was the happy moment about the birthday and the gifts, and there was part about the pandemic. Even because of the pandemic, friends gave her those things. How many of you are happy when it's your birthday and your friends give you gifts? Can I have a show of hands to see? How many of you are really happy when your friends give you gifts on your birthday? Right. Okay, Natasha, I think I'm going to be coaching you, Natasha, aren't I? I think Natasha and Cynthia and one other. Natasha, can you tell me about a time when things didn't go according to plan, but you learned something from it? Could be anything, whether it's school, in the family, at work, you know, whatever. Please.
Thank you for your chance that you've me. So from my experiences, when my teacher wants me to do a presentation about the lessons. So I make a mistake because I feel like I can do it. So yeah, I'm ruining everything. So in that my experience, that I learned that I must trust in myself. So I must believe in myself, so I can be better. Like, yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. The thing about public speaking, giving speeches, one thing about it is to remember is the worst speech you ever give will always be better than the one you never give. Okay? So if you're a little bit afraid of public speaking, if you're not sure about it, just have some self-belief. You know the word confidence? Confidence comes from two words. Con meaning with, and fidens comes from a Latin word meaning faith. Confidence is about self-faith, self-belief. There are no mistakes in speaking. There's success or there's outcomes. And the outcomes may be good. But if you're worried about failing, if you're worrying about not getting it right, that's how we learn. We don't learn when everything's easy. We learn when we slip up a little bit. Some people see it as stumbling blocks. Others see them as stepping stones. Okay. I promise you during the actual physical coaching, when we're doing one-on-one coaching, or whether it's three together, I will give you the tips you need to bring you from where you are to where you might want to be as a speaker. And we can do that fairly quickly. Okay. It's just about having belief in yourself, and you've got a big support group. You've got your teachers, you've got your friends, you've got your family, and you've got me, Mr. Chu. And we will help you wherever we can. And the other two coaches will be teaching you about adding a little bit of humor and whether you should use PowerPoint or not. I never use slides when I'm coaching. We speak, I ask you questions, and I ask you to say a few things. And then I can judge for myself where you're at with your speaking capability. We never want to change what you're doing. We just want to kind of, if you understand the word tweak, we want to make some little changes to make you feel better about yourself and just lift your speaking a little bit more. Okay? So it's not about, we're not judging you to see who the best speaker is here. We want you to be the best speaker you can be. Okay? In modern business language, they talk about the current version of yourself to the best version of yourself. And we've got 15 days to do that in terms of World Speech Day. Okay? And 15 days doesn't seem long. But what I've promised your teacher, and what I'll promise you, is that what we're talking about tonight, I will give you notes on these things. So you don't have to remember all the things I say. Because, I said, you won't remember what I've said. But you will remember how I make you feel. And that's what's important in speaking. That's what's important in storytelling. Okay? As I said, everyone has a story. So there are three things you do when you're given a story. Speak from your own experience. Speak about what you know. Speak with passion. And always package it for the audience. And that way you'll grab them. Now, when it comes to doing the speech itself, it's a question of, we write a speech for our eyes. We deliver a speech for our ears. So if you write 3 pages and you've got 4 to 6 minutes to speak and you're writing 2,000 words, you're going to rush through it. So the 2 things to concentrate on are the opening of the speech and the ending of the speech, and learn them by heart. If you stumble in the middle, it won't matter. People won't remember that anyway, but they will remember how you hooked them at the beginning, and they'll remember what your takeaway messages. Okay? I want to tell you a quick story, then I'm going to ask someone else. Many years ago, I was invited to speak at Mensa, M-E-N-S-A. Mensa are considered to be the top 2% of intelligent people in the world and have an organization, massive IQs. I was invited to speak there for 20 minutes and there was going to be 10 minutes of questions. And I was invited to send 6 speech titles that I was willing to speak about. Now, I do workshops on memory and I do workshops on team building. I do workshops on personal influence and all these sorts of things. So I wrote 5 titles. And for the last one, I thought I'd just play a joke on them. And the last speech title was A Pencil Eraser. And I thought they're not going to choose that one because they were selecting what I was going to be speaking about. I got the letter back from them and that's exactly the one they chose. I had to give a speech on a pencil eraser. Now, when you think about that, it sounds ridiculous, right? But what I spoke about was Malaysian rubber cutters. How they get up early in the morning, walk for miles to get water to make breakfast and to wash. How they walk into the forest carrying a little axe and a little cup. And I spoke about this for 20 minutes. And at the end, I had a pencil with a little eraser, and I explained how rubber was made. And I had a pencil with a razor on the end. And right at the end, I snapped this pencil, makes quite a loud crack, and said, always remember, what you see is not necessarily the process. I had 2 hours of questions. How did I come up with the title? How did I know about Malay rubber cutters? How did I learn this? How did I learn that? Because they were Mensa. So they wanted information to boost their IQs. It could have gone awfully bad, but I was prepared for it, so it was okay, because I knew the history of that. That's another secret to speaking. Be prepared. But the best preparation is to speak about something you know. You can go on Google and get a title, but then you've got to learn it. If you speak about something you know, you already know it. Therefore, you don't have to remember it. You just have to remember moments. Okay? Let's get someone else to speak. Gilbert, I saw you smiling before. You seemed to understand what was happening. How about you share something with us about, I'm looking at your background. Is that a virtual background or is that a real background?
No, it's real background. Okay.
Why don't you describe the background for us, please?
This background is purple because my mom like it. All the stuff of in my house, it's purple. Nah, this is purple. Many purple, and then what do we tell? Little bit nervous in here.
That's all right.
My hand getting cold.
Okay,
just go on.
The main thing is, when I asked you the question, you started speaking, okay? And that's what this is about. It's about just feeling comfortable to be able to do that. I'm not here to lecture to you. I'm here to help you, okay? So I'll be dropping these what we call nuggets. I'll give you a couple of gifts. This is how you can do this. This is how you can do that. But you can't speak like me. You can only speak like yourself, okay?
Okay.
A few tips around it, though. All right. Michelle, would you like to say a few things to me about, I'm looking at you on the screen, Michelle, okay?
Okay.
Smaller photo, like a landscape photo, and some lights at the back. So is this a virtual screen behind you, or is this somewhere where you are?
No, it's like a garden in
Okay.
your me. Actually,
Tell us about the garden, please.
so this is not my home. Actually, I'm in somewhere because I found a quiet place to follow the meeting. So I'm not miss one of it. Yeah, there's some light. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit
That's
nervous.
okay. I understand. You know, we all get nervous. I remember the first time I was asked to speak, and when I first joined Toastmasters, and I've been in Toastmasters 20 years, like, and I was terrible at it. You know, I didn't know what to say, and I was nervous, and I was sweating, and it was. But you know, afterwards, when I got home, and my wife said to me, "How did it go?" "Oh, it was great. I had a great time." You know? and I did, because I learned something that I didn't know before that. Okay. But thanks for that. So it looks like a bit of a football oval or a playground.
Actually, it's not a football card. It's like I don't know. I'm a new.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. How do I say that? Dio? Dio? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dio, your name, Dio, is that a short name or is that a full name for you? And can you explain?
No, my name is Dio Minardi. My long name.
Dio Minardi. Okay. And is that a typical Sumatran name or Indonesian name?
Yes, Indonesian name. Dio. 3 letter.
Tell me what you like most about Indonesia, please.
What? Sorry?
Tell me what you like most about living in Indonesia.
Living in Indonesia, not that bad. I don't know.
Would you rather be something else in Indonesia, or are you happy to be Indonesian? I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am. He's mute.
All right, I'm not trying to embarrass you, okay? I'm just trying to make you feel comfortable here, that's all.
Ya, dia ceritain aja kenapa suka tinggal di Indonesia.
Yeah.
It's okay, never mind, right? It's just
Please don't
just
feel
simple words.
Yeah, please don't feel intimidated by this. It's just I'm just trying to get a feel for what you are capable of doing in terms of public speaking. That's all. So let's talk to. I think I'm going to be coaching Cindy. Is that right, Cindy?
Yes.
I'm going to be your coach about how to do storytelling and write a storytelling type speech. Okay. Tell me something about. Have you thought about the speech? I mean, if you look at what's happening with World Speech Day, it's about humanity at the crossroads, about diversity, inclusion, other such things. Have you thought anything about the speech you were thinking you might give, or have you got any topic that you would like to speak about at World Speech Day?
Okay. Actually, I never followed the speech contest before. It's my first trying, so I just following what the coach gives to me, and here for our teachers' suggestion.
Okay. Do you have any pets? Do you have any dogs or birds, or you keep pets?
I'm not animals lovers, but in my house I have a rabbit, but it's my little brother rabbit.
Okay. And do you like it?
Yeah.
Good. Could you tell a story about it if you were asked to?
Actually, it's a small rabbit from my parents. Actually, my parents bought 2 rabbits. It's a female and male. but because my little brother is so naughty, so he make the male one run away from the house. So we now only have one, which is the female one, and the colors is white and gray. And
let me stop you there. I'll tell you what, that was really good. You
Yeah.
know, you've got a strong voice, an interesting story. You're on your way, really. You could take that story and you could do a compare and contrast. You know, I'm not really into animals and pets, but my little brother has a pet, a rabbit. You know what I mean? And then you could add a bit about putting two rabbits together. There's a certainty that you're going to have more rabbits over a certain time, because rabbits are, you know, huge breeders. So if you have two, and if you don't keep them apart, you'd have 4 the following year, or 6 or 8 or whatever. Okay. So you could expand the story like that. But already you have a capability to be able to tell a good story. Okay. So well done. And I'll coach you with what you want to talk about in World Speech Day. Okay. During the week. So the 3rd of March, I think we're going to do the first one or something like that. All right. And just prepare some questions you want to ask me. Okay. And I'll just work with. So we take what you've got, and all I'll do is just add to that. I won't be saying change this and change this and change the other thing. Okay. All right. Is there anyone that would like to say something that they think that I'd find interesting, or the other people here would find interesting? What about you, Andika?
What are you asking me?
Let me ask you. Do you play a musical instrument or anything?
No, I can't play any instruments.
Can you sing?
I'm
not going to ask you to sing, but can you sing?
I think. I mean, personally, I think I can sing, but I don't know if other people think.
Okay. You like me, sing in the shower, but not to the audience.
Yeah. I always sing in the shower.
You play sport?
I don't like sports.
Okay. Tell me about something you do like.
I like to watch YouTube or read a book when I'm alone. So yeah.
Huh? And what sort of books? Do you read fiction, non-fiction? Or what?
I read both.
Let me show you. I've got. Let me see this. These are the things I'm interested in. See that? That's Sri Lanka and India and Tibet and other places. And those things by the side of it, you see all those like trophies? They're for speaking contests that I win every now and again. Okay. Now, when I started, I was a terrible speaker, but I practiced and I learned from some coaches and mentors, and then I became better at it. And it's about practice. We can all, if we can speak, we can deliver speeches. They say if you can walk, you can dance. You may not be the best dancer in the world, but if you can walk, you can dance. Same if you can talk, you can speak and give speeches. Okay. Just a question of a bit of coaching, a bit of mentoring. All right. And in the world we live in today, when you get a job, when you leave school and you become a worker somewhere, presentation skills are one of the most sought after things you can do now. And if you learn to do this and you learn to do this well, you'll always be capable of making a living. So first you learn, and then as some wise man said, you take the L away and then you earn. Same with speaking. First you do, and then you become. Some people want to become professional speakers, but you can't become a professional speaker. You have to practice professional speaking first, and then you become a professional speaker. I've been practicing for 30 years and I'm a professional speaker, and I get paid to speak outside. I get paid to coach. I get paid to do many things. But I love working with young people and coaching and mentoring, and I like to do it because for me, it's practice. It gives me new ideas. I'm learning as much from you now as you will learn from me. And I thank you for that. I'm grateful for that. Okay. So could I ask one of the officials? I know they're not going to be doing it, but let's do that because that makes it fair, doesn't it? I've asked some of the students now. Erna, could you tell me a little bit about the background on your screen? It looks like leaves or something. Am I seeing that right? In the frame?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you tell me
It's
what?
like-
Okay, where did the idea for that come from, please? And just tell us a little bit about that, please.
First of all, I would like to change the background with WSD, the World Speech Day, but unfortunately that make mistake with that and then cannot see clear with the virtual background. So I decided to choose many virtual background inside, but I think the best one with the leaves to inside. So that's why I choose it.
Excellent, excellent. See, that's initiative and thinking outside the box and all that sort of stuff, which is very important. Okay. All right. Is there anyone that needs to say something urgently that hasn't spoken yet? What about Prima? Can you say a few words? Maybe not. Can't hear me, maybe. Who haven't I spoken to? Andika's had a go. Cindy, Velsi, Annabelle, Michelle, Hilda. Hilda, how about you tell me, I saw a shirt, when we were watching the video, I saw some shirts that the teachers seem to be wearing, different to the uniform of the children. Can you describe for me, if you know, what the shirt signifies and the colors and things like that? Do you know the answer to that, Hilda? Please? Just need to unmute.
Pardon, sir? Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sorry. Can you explain to me why the teachers wear the shirts they do? And is that a kind of local, typical shirt in the school?
What I usually wear at school?
No, your uniform. I saw the uniforms that the students wore with the tie and the thing. But the teachers, I think they were the teachers, they seem to have these multicolored shirts on. A nice pattern and then a different type of collar. Is that what all the teachers wear? No?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's move
I
away.
don't think so.
Okay. Well, let's move away from that. Let's ask you something else. Okay. You're in St. Joseph Senior School, are you? Are you? Perhaps she doesn't. Is she not understanding me? Or? Hilda, are you nervous?
Not really.
You're not understanding what I'm saying, maybe?
I don't really understand a little bit about the uniform.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to know if you knew. That's okay. Okay. Let me ask you, what's your favorite subject at school?
To be honest, English and Chinese language.
Chinese language. I would find, I mean, English is bad enough to learn. Chinese is a what do they call it? And Chu will know better than me, but it's a pictorial language, isn't it? With all the symbols, and they got so many letters that are pictures, and they mean many things. Okay, and I think it goes from right to left instead of left to right, like we do. Can you speak Chinese?
A little bit. I can
Okay.
speak a little bit.
Can you demonstrate by you speak some Chinese? Do you? I can say ni hao, which is hello.
Ni hao.
Ni hao. I can
May
say
I
that.
introduce myself in Chinese?
Please
maybe?
do. Please do.
Sir, I can say better. I can say 我爱你.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, say something in Chinese, please. Not quite.
你好吗?
你好.
我很好啊. So I probably will introduce myself a little bit in Chinese, but I don't really know is it correct or not, but I will try.
Okay, do that.
大家晚上好，我的名字叫 Hilda，我是第一的孩子，我有一个弟弟，在家里有4口人，爸爸妈妈，我和一个弟弟。我今年17岁了，然后我的弟弟是10岁了。我的爱好是学习英文和中文和听音乐。That's it.
That's great. And I'd applaud that. For one thing, you're speaking a language I don't know, but I would get the sense that I was feeling something. The other thing is that what I noticed about you was you were very confident when you were sure. So you know a bit about Chinese, you're learning it, and so you felt comfortable doing that, whereas you didn't feel comfortable with the previous questions. That's something that happens when you're learning to do public speaking. That's why I say when you do a speech, speak about something you know, something you're confident about, something you're sure of. Don't go looking on Google to find a speech. You know, if you want to speak about humanity at the crossroads, you can find examples in your own life. You know, you may not believe this, but in all the people in these pictures, even though we're miles apart, you're in Indonesia, Sumatra, I'm in Australia outside of Melbourne. But you and I, female or male or non-binary, we are 98% similar. And do you know that the orangutans in Sumatra, orangutans have 97% of the DNA of all of us. We're all very similar. So when we talk about humanity and diversity and inclusion, it means all of us. There's no difference except where we live, maybe, or some go to school, some are younger. I'm quite old, quite ancient. Let me ask you a trick question, Natasha. How old do you think I am? Take a guess. The closest one, I'll give a prize whenever I'm in Sumatra.
Maybe 50
Don't be
years
kind.
old.
How long? How old?
50 years old.
50 years old. Any advance on that? Well, everyone's... Don't feel intimidated. Just say whatever you think. Start from 100 and come backwards. I'm not 100, so I'll be lower than that. I can't hear you, Gilbert, because you're on mute.
74.
That is incredible. That is an incredible guess.
Thanks
It's wrong,
a
but it's wrong, but it's an incredible guess.
Oh,
It's not 74. But close, close. One more guess. Higher than that.
You're probably at 70 years old.
Higher than that. Higher than 74.
Maybe 75.
Higher than that. If you know arithmetic,
How about 80?
What was that? Sorry.
How about 80?
80, no lower than that.
78.
And lower than that too. But it's not quick. So what I'm trying to say is age is a number. Okay. You're only as old as you feel yourself, in a sense, you know. And they say the best time to plant a tree was 40 years ago. And the next best time is right now. So what we're planting here is ideas in your minds for when you do some speaking. And when we do some coaching, I want you to be kind of open about what you want, okay? What you want to speak about. and I will coach you and mentor you how to do that well. All right, and that's my promise to you. Okay, and I promise I won't tell you a story about a pencil eraser. I will tell you some stories, because stories have been around since ever man walked on earth. When the cavemen came out of the caves, they told stories, not in the language we know today, but they did gestures and other things to express something, to tell a story. And you young people have interesting stories to tell. And they're the stories that humanity at the crossroads needs to hear. Because when I was your age, I was an apprentice printer. I had a whole of life job if I wanted it. But there were no computers. There were no algorithms. There were no artificial intelligence. There were no libraries in my little village. Things were different. Whereas today, if I need some information, I can Google it. I can get information about anything in the world. But I can't tell stories about that. But I can tell you stories about when I was young, when I used to play sport, when I used to date, when I used to do these things. And they're the most interesting stories. Okay? I was watching earlier in one of the labs, was it the infrastructure classroom, where they were showing the lights, switching them on with the clips, and the teacher or the teacher was holding a transistor. And do you know the transistor? Do you know when the transistor was invented? Which made computers and everything possible. 1948. The second biggest invention, apart from the most important invention ever. Do you know what that was?
Yeah.
The most important invention ever? Paper. Invented by the Chinese many, many years ago. Paper, the most important invention ever. Without it, we couldn't write words down. Without it, there'd be no books. So think about what was the greatest invention. Tell a story about it. How things have changed. How humanity has been helped by that. Yeah? So what do you think so far? Do you think it's going to be exciting to learn from me or to be coached by me? Or do you think it's going to be boring? What do we think? What do you think, Natasha? Because I want to be coaching you.
It's gonna be excited because I want to learn more from you.
Excellent. And Cindy, I'm going to be coaching you too.
Yes, sir. I think it will be interesting and fun.
Good. Good. And there's the other name I saw. I'm going to be coaching Felicita, was it? Was here before. May not be here now, but I promise you that it'll be about you. You tell me what you want to speak about. We'll get you to practice it. Might tweak a couple of things, but it'll be your story. Okay? And I'll guarantee you that when you deliver it, it will be the best story you've ever told. And the audience will love you for that. Okay?
David, can I ask you a request for you to perhaps share your story of how you end up in Australia? I think that's a very good illustration of your story. And I think this is where you can actually round up so that people will understand why storytelling is so important. Over to you, David.
Thanks. Thanks, saying that's good. I was reckless in my youth. I didn't know what I wanted, and I was reckless. And I did things to the extreme, and I used to get into a lot of trouble for different things. And I'd been going out with a young lady who I loved deeply for 5 years. And 3 weeks before, and we were getting married and we'd put a deposit on a house. And 3 weeks before our wedding, I was at my friend's wedding, and my girlfriend at the time, fiance, was the chief bridesmaid at their wedding. And her father said to me, David, I've been offered a job in New Zealand. And I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind putting off your wedding and coming to New Zealand and getting married in New Zealand. And I said, no, I couldn't do that because my family are here, my friends are here, they're all expecting this to happen. I said, why don't you go to New Zealand? Jenny and I'll get married here. You get settled, we'll come to New Zealand. And he said, fair enough, let's do that. But her mum didn't want to do that. And her mum said, no, we're not leaving without her. And it caused some conflict. And a couple of weeks later, the steelworks in which her dad worked went on strike. They were down tools. And they were on strike for 10 weeks. And so there was no money coming into the house. And I was getting the blame for that. So it got worse and worse and worse. So I decided I didn't want to live like that. And we broke up. And I left where I lived in a little Welsh coal mining village, and I went to work in London. And in the job I had in London, it was installing equipment and telephone exchanges, and we traveled all over Britain doing that. And in the next 2 or 3 years, I was still a bit reckless, and I was engaged to 3 different ladies. So the first one was the one I was going to marry, and that broke up. And then 2 I did because they asked, and I said, why not? And then I was posted to go and work in Edinburgh in Scotland. And I walked into this pub hotel. It was a folk singing bar one night. And I saw what I considered to be a vision of loveliness behind the bar. And I just, chemistry, I guess, and I just fell in love basically straight away and asked her out. And for 31 days kept asking, will you come out with me? Will you come out with me? And for 31 days or 30 days, she said no. And then on the 31st day, it was my birthday, November the 30th. And I said, look, it's my birthday. I don't know many people here. I need someone to celebrate with. Please come out with me for dinner for my birthday. And she said, yes. And then a couple of nights later, I took her to see a concert, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, who were playing in Edinburgh. And it was so good. I just said to her, I want to marry you. And she said, I'll only marry you if you take me to Australia. Because she'd lived in Australia as a small child and her parents had broken up. And her mum had gone back to Edinburgh, where they were from, and taken her. And her brother and her father stayed in Australia. So she wanted to come back to Australia. And I said, great, we'll do that. So from the first night I met her till the day we got married was 7 months. And we were married for 43 years. And she passed away 5 years ago. However, I would never been in Australia if it hadn't been for all these coincidences and serendipity and so on. And the lovely thing is that being in Australia, I only wanted to come for 2 years. I said, we'll go to Australia for a couple of years. You'll see it's not like it was when you were small. And then we'll go and live in Canada, because I always wanted to go and live in Canada. And she never wanted to go to Canada. But I was in Canada in 2017 at an international conference. And then I went on a cruise to Alaska and things. So I got to live my dream there as well. Plus, I have an adopted child from Central America, from Guatemala. None of that would have happened. And had I stayed where I lived at the time, if I had been married to the first fiance, I would have married young, probably had children young. And when I go back then, I've been back 9 or 10 times to the village where I used to live. And all the people I knew, the friends that I had there, are either unemployed or divorced or not alive anymore. And yet the girl that I was engaged to, plus the other girls I was engaged to, I still keep in touch with. And we connect all the time. So it seems like an idyllic life. It was tough when I was young, but I got through it and I enjoy life now. But that's my story. But Toastmasters, my boss said to me one night while we were having a drink on a Friday night after work, he said, you know, David, he said, we really enjoy what you're doing. And I was a manager and 137 staff reported to me through 5 supervisors. And he said to me, you know, David, we're really pleased with the work that you do in your branch and the other branches. There's only one problem we have with you. I said, what's that? He said, you talk so quickly that we have no idea what you're speaking about. I said, what should I do about that? Go to Toastmasters, he said, and they will teach you to slow down. And that was in 1986. And I went and I stayed for 7 years. And then we adopted a child from Central America. So I left Toastmasters and I left for 16 years. And then when I finished in the paid workforce, I went back to Toastmasters. And that was in 2008. And I'm still there. And when people say, why are you still there after 20 years? I tell them it's because I'm not dead yet and I've still got things to learn. And that's what life's about for me. So that's my story. So you know all about me now. So over the coaching sessions, I'll get to know a little more about you. I won't be seeking to find out anything private. It'll just be about you tell me your story, what you want to speak about at World Speech Day, and we'll work on that. And I promise you, and I promised Erna and Bang Sen, I promise you all, you will enjoy it. You will be a asset to your school and to yourselves when you do it. And whatever we do, we'll do it because you want that. I won't push you into anything you don't want. You tell me what you want to do, what you want to speak about, and I will work with you to get you as close to what you want as you need. Okay? That's my promise to you. How's that? We're right. Are we still got a bit more time or what? I can be here all night if you've got questions. So.
1 minute left actually. So can we go to the ending the session, or do you want to give them time to ask something?
Sure.
Do you think it's enough?
Yep. Just so what I'll do is, before the 3rd of March, what we've spoken about tonight and the things about, you know, speaking from what you know and speaking with passion, delivering it for the audience. There's a 4L method that I use that we'll talk about, and that's something you've lived, something you've learned, something you can link to other people to help them, and something you love to do. But I'll put these in notes and I'll give you those notes. I'll send them to Erna and she can pass them on to you, or I can send them to you on WhatsApp, okay? But everything we speak about, I'll give you notes to back that up. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So if there's any questions, I can answer a couple.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. David. Very inspirational story. We learned a lot. And yes, guys, so my friend Felsi, I'm gonna give you a little summary from what Mr. David said earlier. So Felsi, it's your time.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to make a summary based on what Mr. David said. There are 4 things you should think before speech. First, who is the audience? Second, what motivates them to come? Third, what they expect from the speaker. Fourth, and what you gonna give to them. When you speak with passion, so the audience didn't turn off and try to make your audience having interest in your speech. Audience won't remember what you say, but they will remember what they feel when you speak. Okay, now we will having the Q&A session. Anybody of you have a question?
Yep, so anybody who have some question, you can open your mic, or if you shy, just write it below the comment and I will help you to ask it to Mr. David.
Kamera ke sini, handphone ke sini.
What was that?
Yep. So you can open your mic. If you shy, you can write below the
I have a
comment.
question for Mr. David.
Okay, Kenny, go for it.
Okay, sir, I want to ask: is talking about something relatable to the audience make the speech more memorable to everybody that is listening? And if so, can you explain further why people will make it memorable just because yeah.
Okay.
That's my question.
Yeah. The thing is that we learn from each other. So when you're speaking to an audience, you know, you might be interested, for example, in racing cars. So you think, I'll do a speech on racing cars. But the people in the audience may not be interested in racing cars. And then you'll be looking at them speaking and you'll be wondering why they don't like what you're saying. People, you may have heard this before. There's two things that people are really interested in. The first thing is the thing they value the most is their own name. And people like themselves. That's human nature. So to make them interested in something you're interested in, first you've got to find out what they're interested in. And if they're not interested in cars and you are, for example, say you're interested in racing cars, but they're not. So you structured a story that is like a fable about cars. And then you just watch as you're speaking to them. And they'll give you a tip about which part of the story they like, and then you can build on that. You can still tell them about the racing cars, but you tell it in a different way. You know, I was down near the Seine in Paris, and this Porsche, a golden blue Porsche, drove past me. It was a gorgeous car. Now, if they're interested in gorgeous, they'll light up. And you say, that's why I'm interested in racing cars. So you can hook them like that. But people like listening to a speaker speaking about them in a lot of ways. You know, in sales, they talk about facts tell. So you can give people the facts about things, you know. For example, did you know in Sumatra, the 50% of your forests have gone to land clearing and palm oil and timber? 20 years from now, if that kept going, there'd be no forests. They're facts. Okay? But if you wanted to tell the same thing as a story that people would get engaged with and not get upset about the facts, you could talk about orangutans, you could talk about the Sumatran tiger, you could talk about all sorts of things and tell it as a story to get people interested, because people are emotional about those things. So you're trying to tap into a person's emotion. Does that make sense, Kenny? See, if I wanted to get to know you, Kenny, the first thing I'd do is I'd ask you about your name, okay? And your hairstyle. See, your hairstyle is similar to one I used to have. And when you look at mine now, if you look at it, it doesn't matter which way I comb this, it will fall like that. Because I've always had it like that, okay? So if you look at that, see that? I wash my hair and it falls like that. But I used to wear it just like yours. You and I have got something in common. If I wanted to tell you a story and keep you engaged, I'd tell you about when I was your age and my hair was like that. And you would warm to me because you think, he likes me, or we've got something in common. Well, that's what the audience wants, okay? That makes sense to you?
Yeah, that really makes sense. So,
you have to know your audience when you're giving a speech. You know, that's the thing about who are they, why are they there, what motivates them, what do they want from you, what do you have to give them? If you can't engage an audience, you know, it's and you can use humor, but I'm not going to tell you too much about humor. Somebody else will do that. Do you know what I mean? But I can tell you about how to structure your story, what's important, what isn't. And Maya Angelou was a poet. She was African-American poet and singer and everything else. And you'll hear a lot of speakers use these lines, foundational phrases. And she said, people will not remember what they hear, but they will remember how you make them feel. We take all of our information in through 5 senses. And if you can play to them, you know, it's auditory, it's kinesthetic. So we hear it, we see it, we feel it, we touch it, we taste it, we smell it. That's how we take information in. If you can tap into any of those things, you can engage an audience. Okay?
Okay.
If you like reading books, read The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell. And in that book, he'll tell you, if you watch Star Wars, I don't know what films you watch. If you watch Star Wars, or you watch James Bond, or you watch any other Hollywood movie, most of the stories are the same. They have different characters, but the storylines are the same. Has conflict and a hero and some dialogue and other things. That's what stories have. That's what makes them exciting. The Yellow Brick Road is about the lion, the scarecrow, and the Tin Man. Do you know about those characters? They stand for wisdom, benevolence, and courage. It's just a metaphoric way of speaking about things. If you use metaphors and use language that way, great stories. But we don't expect that from you just now. But you can develop that. Okay? Any more? You all right with that, Kenny? So you're happy with the answer? Yeah?
Yes, I'm very happy, sir. Yeah.
Yep.
And look, and any other questions you have, you know, as this goes on, I mean, I'll coach and mentor you as long as you like. You know, it doesn't have to stop on the 15th of March for me. We can do it anytime. But if you have a question after this, you can ask the teacher, or you can ask someone else. And if you get in touch with me, I'll answer it, you know, in writing, in an email or whatever, okay? So don't feel that it has to stop tonight. If you got questions for me that I can answer, I'm more than happy to do that. All right?
Yep. Thank you so much, Mr. David. And sadly, we're running out of time, and our time end here. And guys, if you have question for Mr. David, you can contact the official. And before we close this event, we close this virtual coaching session, we're gonna have photo session. So, Ma'am Erna,
sit back.
Photo session.
Can you count it down like 3, 2, 1? I'm not a natural smiler, you know, I have to practice.
Yes, 3, 2, 1. Plus
Only one time enough, sir. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay.
So, you're happy with that? Okay.
Yep. So guys, let's close our Zoom meeting. So Felsi, the time is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, all good things must come an end. Today's program has come to an end now. Let me thank the following people. Our principal, Mr. Franz, Honorable Mr. Chu, Mr. David, Ma'am Erna, Mr. Prima, and all of the audience. And big thanks to Rotary E-Club of 3310 Singapore for supporting us. And to the people outside who joining this program, thank you and good night. Bye.
Bye. Let's give applause for ourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Goodbye, guys.
Oh, there's one of your coaches there, Cyrus.
Hello. Just wanted to say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, we just end the meeting.
Mr.
I'll come and watch you at the end of yours.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry I missed your session.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Just
I'm sure you've
finished,
heard it
right?
all before.
Just finished.
Yeah, we just finished.
Just now.
But you have the opportunity to watch on YouTube, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All right. I'll look for the link.
Yes, I share the link in our group.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Good night, then.
Good night.
Good night,
See you
everybody.
soon.
Good night, all.
Okay.
See you.
I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, then. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Do that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Anna, for all your help. I enjoyed it. Thanks, students. Been great.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
See you later.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
See you later, sir. Bye. Wow. Why this? It's like something deep, but it is not actually. Why must this song? I think we're gonna meet again for 5th March, 10 March, and 15 March.
Tomorrow, you guys.
Okay. All the plans we through, the things we've been through, and we back to talking with you. I think that is that. And I will love you for your last. Something so we can just put on last. Can see you in the bigger picture. Don't see the day, I got to have a plan. I'll see a better place. And it's not talk about family, family, power, bigger. Last right. Okay. Okay, thank you guys. Nice work.